Okay, so this one's gonna be just a little bit out there and not necessarily inside of my norm because it's not about media. No. Today we'll be talking about a short argument I got in on Twitter. Which is weird, I know, because Twitter's usually such a pleasant and peaceful area. But it was about caffeine, and honestly, it kind of baffled me because someone seemed to be arguing from a complete lack of knowledge about caffeine or coffee in general. So here will be your quick PSA explaining all of the things that you need to know about caffeine. First and foremost, what is it? Well, caffeine is a psychoactive drug. As CGP Grey pointed out in his video on coffee, it's technically a poison used in the plants to keep bugs from chewing on it. But when used by us in small amounts, it is a psychoactive drug. It affects how we think and feel, namely increasing memory, decreasing fatigue, increasing concentration, and various other things that we can reproduce in the laboratory and know to be about how the average person reacts to it. Now, the average person generally consumes about 1 to 2 cups of coffee per day, which equals 100 to 180 milligrams of caffeine per day, assuming almost 100 milligrams of caffeine for the average cup of coffee. And it can take as little as 100 to 160 milligrams of caffeine a day to become addicted. Now, obviously, you're not going to become addicted drinking it once, but you will become addicted if you drink it daily or on a semi-daily basis in amounts exceeding 100 milligrams per day. If you do not get your caffeine for a certain amount of time, you can go into withdrawal, lethargy, headaches, stuff like that. It's not heroin, it's not going to kill you, it's not going to end your life, and it's not like morphine, so you don't have to be strapped to your bed to avoid you enacting the wish of ending your life rather than going through the rest of withdrawal. It's just a sucky time when you're withdrawing from it. Now, this is not wishing on a genie. You don't receive any major deficits when you drink caffeine. In fact, the effects are overwhelmingly positive, and there's a reason why it's not illegal, because it's just so useful. But you can have too much. I'm not a medical professional and therefore don't know too much about that. But I do have sources for caffeine, especially on why too much is bad and why just enough is actually good, as well as why you shouldn't have as much caffeine and take it in smaller doses if you are a younger person. Given that it does affect brain chemistry, maybe we shouldn't be marketing all of these heavily caffeinated and incredibly sugary beverages to children. What's the worst that could happen? Anyway, what really blew my mind is that at the end of all this, he said, "So you're telling me the vast majority of the population is addicted to a substance that one single cup of is enough to make you addicted, and that substance is still in open circulation because it's quite positive?" To which I had to answer, yes, it is the world's most used psychoactive drug. It is. You realize that the major point of most laxative-producing plants were designed to make anything that ate the plant shit itself to death. Small amounts of it could be used to cure constipation, but small amounts of caffeine offer many useful side effects. So this is why I had to make this PSA, because apparently a huge amount of people just do not know what caffeine is or why we drink it. They think, oh, it just wakes you up. No, sugar can wake you up. It does a lot more than that, and you are signing on for an addiction if you start taking it. And if you quit it, you are going to get some withdrawal. But considering the withdrawal is generally so small, most people who suffer withdrawal just put it up to, I was having a bad day. Lethargy, joint pain, sometimes headaches. They don't know that they're suffering withdrawal. But since we found no major issue with taking it consistently, there's no reason not to. Just so long as you don't exceed 400 milligrams a day, there's really no reason not to enjoy a cup of coffee. Now, I get it. Psychoactive drug and addiction are incredibly scary words. They're right up there among scary words such as Disney reboot. The only way you could make them scarier is if you wrote them in kanji. Or maybe that's just from the perspective of someone learning Japanese. Seriously though, who needs 3 fucking alphabets? The weird thing is that after I provided him with a link that showed all of the things that I had previously stated, he immediately stopped replying and just kind of disappeared, presumably now believing me. The only difference between what it said and what I said was that it had been Googled, which means that he was perfectly happy arguing with me, not checking any of my points, and simply acting under the pretense that I simply had to be wrong, without actually checking any of the information that I was providing. Considering he had to be at a computer in order to get to Twitter, it's a little concerning that with access to the entirety of human knowledge, he still didn't feel the need to actually double check any of the points or information that I was giving him, and instead just presumed that I was wrong because I had to be. Going into an argument or a debate assuming that you are correct is a far cry away from assuming everything the other person says is wrong under the pretense that you are correct and therefore what they said must be wrong. So like, share, comment, follow, subscribe, and enjoy your psychoactive drugs responsibly on this channel.